Good morning, John.
Good morning, Andrew. Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody else. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Andrew, thank you to you and the team for putting this together. So, as we only have about half an hour this morning, we've got quite a lot to get through. I'd like to give you all a very quick introduction to who we are. I'm not going to spend much time on this. A quick look at some of the actual technology that's behind the buzzwords that we're seeing in the media across all the news channels at the moment, and then actually how ITESOFT are making use of that technology for finance departments, including the latest product that we've released to the market. We'll finish up with a short testimonial from one of our current clients and a quick Q&A, as Andrew's already mentioned. If you've got some questions, please do pop them in the chat, and we'll do our best to get round to those at the end. So, to start us off with, just a quick look, as I say, at some of the key numbers for who we are, who ITESOFT is. So we were founded in 1984. Our solutions are being used across 35 countries at a last count, and that equates to roughly 650 clients processing more than 1 million documents per year through our platforms. You can see clients of ours cross multiple industries, from auto glass to Poly One, Canal and River Trust to Jaguar Land Rover to PepsiCo. So the solutions that we offer are suitable for virtually any organization, and in fact the latest versions of our software for virtually any size organization as well. The rest of the numbers there are there so you can see a little bit more background of who we are, but as I say, I don't want to spend too much time on this particular part. More importantly, I think, is why are we actually here today. So you guys, I hope, have registered and joined us because you'd like to learn a little bit more about ourselves. In short, ITESOFT, we're in a marketplace that's evolving and growing at a rate that's basically previously unheard of. There's rafts of new technologies that are being launched, and it seems almost daily that these are coming out. But of course, with every new technology, there's new challenges as well as new benefits for not just the early adopters, but also for people who are coming into the marketplace a little bit behind that. At ITESOFT, what we find is important is that we need to both balance the new technology so that our customers are able to make use of the best in breeds, and they're able to really generate benefit. RPA, big data analytics, that sort of thing, they're pretty well established in some form or another. A lot of organizations will already have those. However, with things like AI, machine learning, and fuzzy logic, those are things that a lot of organizations are only really just starting to even understand that they exist and look at, let alone starting to invest in. But these technologies are there, they're in the marketplace, and we like to ensure that our clients and partners are able to gain all of the advantages that they're seeking from them, to future-proof themselves and to understand what's actually really possible at this moment in time. So before I go into how ITESOFT are using the technology to bring real benefit, I'd just like to go through 2 or 3 of the buzzwords that we're seeing in the press and have a little look at those in a little bit more depth as well. So the first one, and the oldest one of the ones that I'm going to look at probably, is cloud. And cloud-based solutions have been readily available now for years. For enterprises and for organizations that were looking at them for back office, there was historically quite a lot of concern about data control and associated risk, but generally that's been alleviated, and it's been helped significantly by the influx of organizations like SAP, with the SAP HANA ERP, in giving confidence to organizations that this technology and the cloud as a platform is secure and safe. Honestly, as far as ITESOFT sees it, it should be a no-brainer for virtually every organization today. Enormous cost reductions that are associated with moving your solutions into a cloud platform make it a very enticing route for businesses to take. combine that with things like a reduction in time to implement solutions, the removal of costly upgrades, reduced requirements for servers on premise, reduction in time and cost impact to internal IT teams. Everything there is about reducing the cost for an organization to be able to take a new software solution and make use of it. Obviously, as a result of these cost reductions, what it means is that cloud-based platforms are lowering the bar for organizations' entry into automation, where historically it was enterprise scale organizations that looked at automation solutions. Now even SMEs are able to genuinely consider this as an investment that would make sense to them. On to the second of the buzzwords or phrases, RPA, robotic process automation. Again, I would suggest it's actually not something that's really new within the automation industry. The very purpose of automating invoice processing, for example, which is where ITESOFT specialize, is applying concepts of RPA to a process that is by its very definition repetitive and low value, keying in information off of a supplier invoice. What we are seeing, though, in the marketplace is that the term RPA has become far more widespread. Hopefully, it means that it's also better understood. Maybe not always, and occasionally you'll come across products and offerings that are claiming RPA, and it can be very difficult to really see where they're coming from. In automation, particularly in finance process automation, though, the terminology that was used previously was OCR, so optical character recognition. The reality is that OCR is actually just a means to an end, and it's part of an RPA process. RPA in and of itself is of enormous benefit to organizations. I've mentioned keying in invoice data, but this is a service or a solution that can be used across just about every single aspect of an organization, from classification of documents on receipt, mailroom processing, into production plants, etc., etc. I mean, it really can be applied to any task where there is a repetitive process in place and there is a human doing that. An RPA process can replace that. Moving on, finally, of these slides onto artificial intelligence. Now, AI is already having an impact on us. Just think about the smartphones kicking around in your office at the moment, to the likes of Alexa at home, able to order your products from Amazon for you when you're running low on things. In business, particularly, the field of machine learning is actually what's really delivering the biggest benefits. What we see in the media and across a lot of news channels is technology that's built on symbolic learning, which is arguably still closer to actual science fiction than to real world use. Machine learning, as I say, is where businesses are really starting to see a benefit already. Within that, two distinct fields: statistical learning and deep learning. Both of those, fundamentally what they're doing is they're leveraging data to drive improvements within an organization. AI is really starting to come into play by allowing machines to have flexibility in their approach to simple tasks. So we've mentioned invoice processing, where this would come into play as the next stage of that, and it's actually around potentially the workflow for invoices that require approval or further management in the business. Machines can build rules based on data far more quickly than humans can do so. They can make their calculations based on amounts of data in a very short amount of time that a human would fundamentally find impossible to be able to do. I have mentioned symbolic learning. As I say, it's not yet having much of an impact in terms of back office of business, although and I'm sure most of you here will have seen this. The strides in this area being made by the likes of Google. We all saw the video earlier this year of the Google Assistant phoning hair salons and restaurants and making reservations for people, and actually, to all intents and purposes, having a conversation with a human being. Finally, I mean, I would mention this one. David Kearley, the VP at Gartner, has said, enterprises should focus on business results that are enabled by applications that exploit narrow AI technologies. And by that, we're looking at machine learning, and leave general AI, i.e. symbolic learning, to the researchers and science fiction writers. I would agree, as it stands at this moment in time, that is the way to look at this technology. Yes, it's exciting, but it's still in its infancy in many, many ways. So how do these new technologies fit into finance? To start with, just very quickly like to look at why the new technology should be being considered at all. And actually, the easiest way to do that is to consider the limitations of existing platforms that are out there. Now, ITESOFT ourselves, we started like most software organizations with a highly customizable on-premise software solution. The benefits of this were absolutely undeniable. However, the sheer scale of the projects and associated costs, they really did stop a lot of organizations from investing before they'd even started. Now, over time, and particularly with not just the advent of cloud technology, but the acceptance of cloud technology, there's been a significant shift across all software platforms towards a more standard offering to users. Consider Facebook, Amazon, LinkedIn, Netflix, etc. Now, on all of those platforms, you as a user, you can change an image or a piece of text. Fundamentally, though, every single person on those platforms logs into a service that is identical. You cannot change the blue bar at the top of Facebook. It is there, it is standard, we all see it. You all have your profile pictures in the same place, etc. So the same was true for a lot of enterprise scale software solutions as well. CRMs and ERPs in particular, they moved to the cloud and offered limited amounts of customization. Now, they started off trying to offer a lot of customization and quickly realized that it wasn't really viable. What we are seeing is that the level of customization has decreased in those sort of platforms and offerings, and is becoming more akin to the likes of your Facebooks, etc. Now, ITESOFT have looked at that and taken it on board and basically tried to break the mold. So what we've tried to do is combine the absolute best of our 30 plus years experience of on-premise invoice capture, document management, etc., and take the best benefits of the cloud with the reduced costs, etc., and provide a new offering. And the offering itself is Streamline for Invoices. So on your screen at the moment, you should be able to see 4 key areas that neatly sum up what we've tried to do with Streamline for Invoices and what's driven us to this particular platform. The first was speed and cost reduction. As I mentioned, traditional platforms, very expensive, very, very slow to produce and implement. They took months of coding, etc. So we looked at that and thought, well, how can we provide a solution that will have considerably faster implementation times? And the direct result of that is a reduced cost to organizations to get going. And obviously, if we move to cloud-based platforms and cloud technology, we can do that. We can provide fully working solutions, and that can be provided to a new customer in a matter of days rather than weeks, or potentially even months. Secondly, and something that was very important for us to maintain, was reading performances. So ITESOFT have always been able to cite some of the best reading rates available in our market. What was very important is that we could continue to deliver that whilst adhering to rule one, speed and cost reduction. So we needed to find a way that our solutions, when a new customer came on board, our solution would already be able to understand the majority of the invoices that it was looking at without any setup and configuration. The third point, functional wealth and business process management. So workflow tools, document management. Again, it's an ITESOFT area where we've won multiple awards in that area. We've got great experience of delivering those tools across Europe. So we wanted to be able to take a technology that finance and back office often don't have or don't understand, and bring it to them in a way that was easy for them to understand, that was flexible for them to be able to use and would work for them. And finally, performance management. This is an allude really to the fact that we're in the age of big data, and every organization out there wants to not only capture every piece of data and information that they can, but they want to be able to see it, drill into it, and understand it in a more dynamic way than probably traditional tools could offer. Again, for ITESOFT, this became an important part of what we were looking to deliver with the Streamline for Invoices platform. Two sort of final points that I'd like to mention on the product at this stage. And firstly, one of the key drivers during development, it was essential for us to be able to provide our clients with a solution that made use of investments they had already made in other platforms. So when Streamline was developed, one of the keys for us was to offer both synchronous and asynchronous connectors to virtually all ERPs available on the marketplace, allowing us to be able to push and pull data between our platforms and their ERPs and leverage the existing technology that had been invested in. Secondly, and maybe this is the most important bit as far as our clients were concerned, but in order to ensure that platform and security and stability for all of the users, we decided that the cloud-based solution would be hosted on the Microsoft Azure platform, giving everybody peace of mind. So I'd like to just have a quick look at the topic of extracting invoice data from an image file that's been received, or maybe from a piece of paper that's been scanned and then is an image for processing. So businesses still receive a large proportion of their invoices as pieces of paper, which they scan to obtain the image. The proportion varies depending on whose reports you're reading, but somewhere between 50 and 80% seems to be the standard. And that's despite just about every medium and large scale enterprise saying that they're pushing towards e-invoicing and have been for many, many years. For the rest, invoices are often come in as email attachments, so as a PDF or a Word document or an Excel document in many instances. So what we have hopefully on your screens is a nice easy way to view how invoice data extractions changed over the course of the last number of years. So on the left-hand side, the vertical axis, you have extraction performance, and that's basically the quality of the data that is taken from the invoice and fed into the ERP. And this is really the key objective for most businesses, to ensure they get the highest quality of data. On the bottom, the horizontal, ease of use. And what we're looking at here is how easy it is for an organization to invest in the technology, but also for their users to make use of it. Okay, now this is something that traditional platforms maybe didn't look at so much, and I would probably suggest that a lot of organizations probably didn't consider as vital when they went out to the marketplace. So looking at the four yellow objects there, bottom left quadrant, you've got manual input. No surprise, it has got the lowest performance rates because it's not doing any extraction, and generally the lowest ease of use. Yes, okay, it's very easy to key information into a computer, but you're having to physically do it. Therefore, ease of use is low. Next up along the line, you've got OCR or ADR, both in the cloud and on-premise. You can see they are slightly staggered there. Cloud technology generally has a slightly lower quality of extraction to an on-premise solution. There's been a lot of changes in that. However, at the moment, the marketplace would still suggest the same, that a cloud-based extraction platform will generally not perform as well as an on-premise based platform that has a direct link, for instance, into an ERP. What you will probably understand if you're in this marketplace is that the performance of this technology is very much dependent on the quality of the data that the user has in their finance package, and actually it's 9 times out of 10 it's the quality of the supplier master data that causes the biggest problems. It's invariably of poor quality, many multiples of the same files, etc., etc. As a result, that was something that ITESOFT decided would fundamentally change the way that the cloud solutions could work if they could address that issue. And that's where in the top right corner, CAS, Capture as a Service, comes into play. It's our own unique proposal. Nobody else out there has got anything quite like this going on. Suffice it to say, it's having an enormous impact and benefit for our customers as they're making use of it and moving into the platform. So what is Capture as a Service? And this is the real differentiator for us. It's a disruptive service. As I've mentioned, it's entirely operated by ourselves, ITESOFT. It's based on a number of technologies, including artificial intelligence and big data best practices, to ensure that the quality of the supplier master data information is of the highest caliber. So what we are offering is an AI-driven invoice capture process, self-learning data extraction, and there's the key, a mutualized supplier database. So the benefits of this are vital. Simply put, if we can get a 95% throughput rate of invoices, it's possible for organizations to multiply by more than 3 the number of invoices being processed by their full-time equivalents when compared to any other best-in-class solution. What we mean by that is we have got customers who are able to process in excess of 100,000 invoices per year with one accounts payable clerk. Okay. With CAS, you no longer need technical skills to set up playback engines. It's in the cloud. It's a standard product that every one of our customers has access to as they go through. You don't need to employ teams of people to code invoices on receipts. In the vast majority of cases, invoices are fully automatically read. And this is where the solution really opens the door for resellers and partners. Programming and coding the solution is virtually eliminated. On receipt of an invoice by a user, that invoice in the first instance is matched against a supplier master data set that is managed and maintained by ITESOFT before it even goes near the customer's ERP. So, as I say, in order to obtain these sort of performances, the supplier identification engine, it does not rely directly on supplier master data provided by each of our clients, but on this shared repository. It integrates a set of advanced processing algorithms to maintain the quality of the shared repository and uses that for the first match of an invoice on receipt. Once we've identified who the supplier is, using some fuzzy logic algorithms, it's possible for us to then link to the data provided by our clients to recover a unique ERP code so that when that invoice is then posted, it matches their own internal requirements and structures. So the performance of this platform, particularly the data extraction engines, is constantly being monitored by expert teams at ITESOFT. If it's necessary, they can immediately implement the necessary actions to optimize data extraction of a particular supplier's invoices. Now, bear in mind that most of our customers will be receiving invoices from similar suppliers. So if we make a change to how our system handles an invoice from, sorry, Andrew, for argument's sake, Fujitsu, for one customer, that ruling can then be used for all of our customers that receive an invoice from Fujitsu, so that it no longer stops for any of them. It processes straight through for all of our customers. CAS itself is actually also available as a completely standalone product outside of Streamline for Invoices. It's designed for fast, agile implementation and reduced financial and time impacts. As it comes with a vastly reduced price point as well, it's opening the door up even more widely to even more organizations to be able to make use of disruptive technologies. For partners, for reselling purposes as well, it makes it a lot easier to take to customers. We're no longer trying to displace their internal workflow systems and what else they already have. What we're offering them is the very, very best in capture to then feed into their other systems. I can see a question already in the chat about partner reselling on this one. As I mentioned, we will come back to Q&A at the end of the session, time willing. On which note, and as time is short, if you would like to read more about CAS, please do visit our website, itesoft.co.uk. You'll find a white paper on there that we've released relating to CAS. There's a lot of other content on there about transforming supplier invoices, or rather the processing of them, into a competitive advantage as well. As I said at the beginning of the session, I'd like to do a very quick couple of slide presentation from one of the ITESOFT global projects with one of our clients, PolyOne. So for those of you that don't know, PolyOne, a big organization trading across many countries. What they needed was a solution that could be implemented across both multiple sites and in multiple countries to handle invoice capture and to make use of their existing investment into their ERP, which was SAP, and into their purchasing suite, which they had Ariba. It was vital to them that any solution that they chose could be implemented quickly, could in particular handle various taxation rules across multiple countries, and give them some visibility and auditability. Now, actually, that's something that became even more important to them as they progressed through their project. So they chose to work with ourselves at ITESOFT to deliver what they needed. As you can see on your screens there, in terms of a fast, efficient rollout as they needed it. The rollout is, for each country, it takes about a week to have the system in place and live. The quote on the right-hand side there from their international finance controller highlights how things maybe changed a little bit during the course of the project. He highlights the fact that they now have absolute security and accessibility to financial data on a group-wide international scale, and that's despite the fact that that wasn't something they started the project with. The key thing in mind, that is still for them one of the most important benefits that they have managed to gain from using this platform. Okay, so how are we doing for time? We are a little bit short.
There will be an automated email that will go out tomorrow with details of this recording, along with how to contact us further. In due course, we will make the webinar also available on our imaging channel program, and that will be accompanied by some further content from ITESOFT. So when that's available, we will let you know.